Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of A Little Bit About the podcast. Hello, Ray.
Yo!
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Not bad at all. This week, mate, we are talking about conspiracy theories.
All right.
Posted into the Facebook group the other day about topics that people would like, and somebody suggested conspiracy theories,
Nice.
and it actually gained quite a lot of comments in the comment box. So that's what we're going to talk about.
All right, then let's do it.
Conspiracy theories, mate, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
Scandals, assassinations, terrorist attacks, government activities, cover-ups, even now, ulterior motives that surround the coronavirus pandemic.
All right.
So yeah, let's find out a little bit about conspiracy theories. I've been reading up a lot, mate, this week, and I've got to admit, slightly paranoid now about all of this dark world that I've jumped into. I'm pretty sure that after all of the internet browsing I've been doing, that the feds have probably tagged my IP address and are downloading my browser history as we speak. I'd type in stuff like, "Is Michael Jackson dead?" or Diana death conspiracies and things like this, and I just got this feeling that somebody was watching,
You got to start wrapping your head in foil.
monitoring my keystrokes.
Yeah.
So I've read and watched and listened to a lot of theories and watched a lot of documents as I've been doing my work and things like that.
Good man.
Do you know what? I'm now pretty certain that Elvis is alive and is a university lecturer in Aberystwyth.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that. I'd love if that was real.
Did you know that MC Hammer is actually Vanilla Ice?
No, I did not. By merit of his trouser shape, I'd imagine.
No, I made that up, obviously.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the point now.
As believable as some of those are out there, actually. Isn't
If somebody fervently believes something, then no matter how much the evidence stacks up to prove they are wrong, they just won't reason with you.
Yeah.
And
we know other people like that, Nick, that don't reason with us.
Yeah.
Because they believe it's true.
Yeah. You're
That's
on about
children.
Oh, children. I thought you was going to say good lady wives.
No, children.
Yeah. Although, when I was doing the bit of research,
yeah,
I found that I was getting cross and annoyed because I was searching for conspiracy theories and Google was returning results. Other search engines are available, and I could easily get mixed up with things that are considered mysteries, like Bigfoot or the Bermuda Triangle, for example. It would.
Yeah, not so much conspiracy theories, are they?
No, they're not
like
much.
Legends.
They're not really conspiracy theories. So that I think we should start off with the first question. What do you think a conspiracy theory is?
So I think on the whole, for me, conspiracy theories always tend to just be absolutely ludicrous. And I don't know, people out there listening to this, you might disagree, but anybody can make a conspiracy theory fit if they really wanted to. And it's like, it's almost like this accept or non-acceptance of what actually has happened. The coronavirus is a crazy one at the moment. Some of these conspiracy theories I'm hearing, it's just like, fuck off, get a grip. Fucking hell. I heard one.
You don't think it's because they're keeping us in to roll out 5G?
The best one about the 5G thing, right, which is absolutely ridiculous, that 5G could give us coronavirus, is that some of these crazy idiots went out and broke loads of masts, and about 90% of the masts that they broke down weren't even 5G masts, weren't even capable of 5G. It just goes hand in hand with the ludicrousy of the opinion of what it is. Yeah, it's like, here's one, right? The other day, I was driving my mum home, and she was like, "Oh, my friend," she's saying it's all a conspiracy. And I was like, "What's that, Mum?" And she's like, "The coronavirus and everything going on." Not that my mum believed it. And I said, "What does your friend think?" And she's like, "Well, my friends saying that the government are doing all this just to control us. I said, control us to do what? Get this. Her
Yeah.
friend believed that the only reason that what they're trying to control us to do was wear masks. I was like, seriously, mum? She's like, yeah, yeah. She just thinks that they want us to wear masks. I said, for what reason? Don't know. I'm like, really? Really? So you're going to actually just dismiss everything that science is saying, the fact that there may really be a virus, killer virus out there, and the government are acting as best as they can. But what they're actually doing is contracting our entire economy globally, putting the fear of shit into every single body, making people ill just so they can make us wear masks.
That's one way to stop freedom of speech, maybe, because I think people won't be able to talk.
Oh, mate.
I'm glad you kept saying government, though, because for me, conspiracy theory, I mean, the more descriptive term, aside from yours, which was graceful, by the way, a big pile of shit, a belief that some covert but influential organization is responsible for an unexplained event. And to me, most of the time, the best ones seem to be government cover-ups. But, do you know what? Whilst 99% of them have no basis whatsoever, I love conspiracy theories. They just fascinate me, and it's so entertaining. It's almost like a whodunit that never gets solved.
Yeah, because they're usually based on people's imagination. So it's almost as if there was never the murder never happened. It was
No,
almost
and
like,
that's what makes it so great and so unique, because it becomes this never-ending string of entertainment that at any time you can dip in or out of, add another fact. Like, a single news article that might pop up next week to do with something. A new discovery could evolve with more facts and narratives and plot twists. And I think conspiracy theories, they form some of the best debates that you could have with your friends in a pub. And do you know
yeah,
what? Frankly, I'd rather talk about the Queen being a lizard shapeshifter than discuss what happened on Towie.
no, absolutely true. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there is a place for conspiracy theories, and that is for the fun element of debate and consideration. But I think it crosses a line where it becomes actually a little bit defamatory or counter constructive to what the world's trying to do. Like, you've got this anti-COVID thing at the moment. I don't know if you've heard of these big protests, getting quite a big following, and they're kind of like getting people who perhaps don't really look into the science behind stuff, really research and really listen to the facts that are going on, and critically think about it. And you've got people who don't do that and will follow what's said in the news or follow what an influential person might be shouting about because
Yeah.
of these seemingly counteractive kind of facts, to the contrary of what we're hearing. And so with something as serious as like this whole thing going on with, the fact that there's a killer virus out there, people are dying, it's kind of like, it's dangerous because they're making people believe it's not real and it's fake, and that we shouldn't be wearing masks and we shouldn't be, vaccinating and all that type of stuff against what science is saying. It's almost like, when do you actually believe? What do the government have to do to make you believe that this actually is worth listening to and it actually is real? So those types of conspiracy theories, I think, should die a death and shut the fuck up, in my eyes. But the ones like Queen being a lizard and Elvis working in Aberystwyth, perfect, absolutely perfect, love them
Those are
all
the
day.
ones you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, all day
Yeah.
long.
Well, the psychologists, the experts that understand people and the way they think, they say that people turn to conspiracy theories when important psychological needs aren't being met. And the first of these needs can be classified as epistemic. So they're related to the need people have to be knowledgeable and accurate, which doesn't sound, that sounds quite the opposite to me.
Yeah.
The second being the existential, is related to the need to feel safe and secure in the world.
Mm.
So, for example, research might show that people are drawn to a conspiracy theory when, in and around themselves, they're feeling powerless or anxious
Mhm.
about something.
Yeah.
And the third is a social motive. They're like, it's related to the need to maintain a positive view of oneself or feel positive about the groups that we belong to. So maybe latching on to other conspiracy theory groups to find some common ground.
Mm. Some
Uh,
answers that potentially aren't there, or that they
yeah,
desperately want to be. There is a fourth.
go on. The absolute nutbags.
Yeah, the absolute need to express their absolute fucking stupidity.
You are on about this is these. You're describing the people that just walk around 24/7. That wear t-shirts saying I'm a conspiracy theorist on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they just conspiracy theories for the sake of being
I think for
conspiracy theorists.
the most part, it generally is just a form of entertainment to most
Yeah,
people.
yeah. No, I
Um,
agree. I agree. I mean, some degree, I buy into exactly what you said earlier about it's fascinating and it's fun, you know, and then it's like you say they add bits in like 10 years later, some new evidence comes out that perfectly fits. Um,
should we automatically dismiss conspiracy theories as being false?
no, not at all, because I think some are intriguing. Like for example, I kind of started buying into the whole 9/11 conspiracy theory that it was actually done by the government. Well, actually, there's a little bit more to that. It was actually constructed by, was it the Rockwell family who owned the Rockefeller family who owned Rockefeller,
Yeah,
uh, one of the richest families in the world on the planet. Because apparently, if you, and again, I found myself being convinced, and by this whole thought that, this whole story about there was an insurance. The Rockefeller family owned the Twin Towers, yeah,
yeah,
um, and apparently, literally a month or so before it happened, a massive insurance claim was an insurance policy was taken out on it, which would have paid out like hundreds upon hundreds of millions. Um, and this was the whole conspiracy theory that it was actually constructed, and those terrorists were actually bought as such, blah 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 blah. And you find yourself believing it. And I was actually think to myself, hang on a minute, what is the evidence here other than the fact that someone's written this?
yeah,
There was no insurance documents showing. There was nothing other than this story constructed, and with these things that would always make it sound like it fits for someone like me who is so far removed from it, wouldn't know the arse end to the head end to understand the truth, other than the fact that it sounded real, it sounded kosher, it sounded serious. You're like, surely, and I was starting to question humanity. Could humans actually do that for money? And you think, well, yeah, they could, because they do. Humans do that. People go to war over the most ridiculous things: religion, land, money, power. That's what humans do, and you kind of buy into that whole story. And I think to myself, why am I believing this? Why do I believe this? Why should I believe it any less than I believe it was, terrorism? Other than the fact that terrorism is a kosher thing that is happening in the world,
yeah.
and they're the types of things that piss me off. Yeah, and get on my nerves.
That is, see, you're seeking the form of entertainment there is you seeking the last few pieces of the jigsaw that you're never going to find
I don't
to
find it entertaining.
complete
Pisses me
that
off.
full picture. And that's one of the best reasons for why I love these conspiracy theories. I mean, the Twin Towers,
So you don't buy
clearly.
into it though, like you like it for what it evokes inside you and such in this whole mystery. It's not that you actually think, shit, this is real.
I believe that some of the major conspiracy theories that probably involve government
Mm,
are likely to be some form of the truth.
okay.
I think anything to do with government or authority and power, they've probably covered it up.
Mm. I don't get me wrong. There's huge corruption. There must be huge corruption in within any government in the world. It's apparent in a lot of countries how
Yeah.
corrupt governments are, and I don't think our government or the American government are particularly clean either. I think there are situations where they can't be clean.
No, I
They
think
can't make the
just
moral.
events that go through the course of history.
Yeah,
The scandals and stuff that you hear. It, those are the ones that are public, not necessarily conspiracy theories, but just things that have been brought to light. Whether it's Watergate or whatever,
yeah,
and it doesn't take too much to imagine them going one step further
mm,
to cause uh, some catastrophic global news story that they end up just basically denying because they
mm.
can.
Of course they can. Of course they can, and that's the scary part of it. And you kind of perhaps the reason I don't like, if you look at it, want to tear the psychology up. Perhaps the reason I don't like conspiracy theories is that it makes me very uncomfortable if it is the truth.
Yeah.
Like that one with the 9/11. It makes perfect rational sense to me that a bunch of terrorists who were anti everything, anti America in particular in that occasion, would do such a disgusting, heinous thing that affected me, let alone people who lived in America and people who were directly affected by it, and has affected me for many, many years because it makes you have perceptions about certain people and certain religions. Unfortunately, that's what it does. It festers inside you.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
I'm not, and again, just to make it clear, I don't think people who are like Muslim or anything are terrorists at all. My sister-in-law is Muslim, so it's a beautiful religion, but you can't help. I mean, I remember at the time, a year after it happened, I went to New York with my wife. It's our first holiday together, and I got on the plane, and it was all about terrorism. It was everything was like on high alert. There's extra. It's like coronavirus is now. It's like it was all you heard about, all you felt, all you knew. The procedures you had to do was just flavoured and by this whole thing, this terrorism thing. And I got on the plane, and then this guy, this official who worked at Birmingham Airport, got on, and he had a high vis on. He was an Asian chap with a beard and and like a hat. And the first thing I thought was, "Fucking hell, I'm going to bomb the plane." That was my first, which is, I hate the fact that I felt that way because
How
I'm
did
not that
that not
type of
make it
person.
into our episode about racism?
Well, yeah, we should do a part 2 on racism.
Yeah.
But that's the effect it has, and I think maybe because I hate being out of control of myself like that, and I hate admitting that things affect me and take over me sometimes, and that I'm not in full control. And perhaps that's why I don't like conspiracy theories, because it makes me start to feel certain ways towards like governments or other people and stuff. And it's almost like,
Well,
no,
there
no,
you
I'll go
go,
with the
mate.
first story. I'll go with the first story, thanks.
You've just attached yourself to point two of how the psychology experts define um, the people who react with these conspiracy theories. It was
Yeah.
so you just said something that was existential. The related need to feel safe and secure.
Maybe safe and secure. I think it's because it's a little bit different to that. Not so much safe and secure because there's no safe feeling about terrorism.
No, no, I know that.
No, but in that instance, I perhaps think that conspiracy theories always make it worse. There's never a conspiracy theory that actually makes something sound better. Do you know what I
No,
mean? It's like there's never a conspiracy theory that the actual story that was given out was the conspiracy theory and that the real truth was the not so bad one. So I think it's not about safe and secure. It's just that every time, and maybe that's another thing people should really realize. Every conspiracy theory is always the worst version of.
yeah, yeah. Moving on. Um, it would be impossible to talk about any particular conspiracy theory in depth
Yeah,
in one episode. So we're kind of generalizing here, and I'm sorry if you've tuned in and subscribed purely because you want to listen to shape-shifting lizards or Watergate scandals, but we
fake
can't.
moon landings.
Yeah, yeah. So this one's a bit of a mix, right? I personally believe that we are not alone.
In what sense?
that in the universe there
Oh,
are
okay.
other
Not paranormal.
beings. No, no, we're not talking about ghosts.
Okay. Because that would be ridiculous, yeah?
Well, it's a whole that's a whole episode, mate. I personally believe that we're not alone in the
Okay.
universe, and that aliens of some form do exist, whether that's the goggly-eyed ones that come and probe you from your bed, or the ones that are bacteria and living in water on Jupiter.
Right.
That's not a conspiracy theory, but if the governments of the world, obviously America is the main one, if they've got evidence of extraterrestrial life and they're covering it up and they're basically saying, no, 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 that's a conspiracy theory, right?
Mm.
So, what about you? Area 51, UFOs, do the governments around the world know more than they are telling us? Have they got stuff? Is there an alien in a tube just like being
Having its
pickled?
ass probed
Yeah.
by a goggly-eyed human.
You do it to us, you fucker.
Do you know what? Okay, so the scientific brain in my head, the logical person, when I watch, Wonders of the Universe with Professor Brian Cox, who's like one of my heroes in terms of the world of science and stuff, there can be no sensible reason to believe that we are the only sentient life in the universe. But other parts of me believe that when you look at, and if you're not lazy and you take a little bit of sensibility about your approach to these types of arguments and actually take a bit of time to listen to the scientists, right, about planetary science, for example, the fact that we are who we are today is based on the perfect conditions happening, based on perfect conditions.
Yeah.
Us being so far away from the sun at the right time, and evolution itself over millions and millions of years to get us to this point we are today. What we have to think that out there, what gets on my kind of like, can it be true, is that there's something else that's evolved at the very same time as us, in the same conditions, and is space traveling at the same time as us and exploring and stuff.
I
Maybe
totally
we
get
are
what
the
you're
first
saying.
part. Maybe we are the first humanoids, and that, you know, in the next million years we would have spread over the planets, and that's how aliens will happen. But I don't know. It's a very tricky one when you really listen to the scientists and how we've evolved as
Right.
beings.
So
What's the chances, man?
I don't know whether you've noticed, but on Netflix at the moment there is a documentary about a guy called Bob Lazar. Have you seen it?
Sounds like a conspiracy theorist. Is he American?
Yeah, I'd totally recommend you watch it.
Okay.
He claims that he worked at a compound or military base. It was called S4. He worked at Area 51, I think, and just all as a physicist in the 80s, and he was hired for the purpose of developing advanced propulsion engines. In the documentary, I've can you imagine a cliche of a conspiracy theorist? Yeah,
As in what they look like?
yeah,
Yeah. Can
and how
I?
they act
Yeah.
and all of this. This guy, I've never seen anybody as calm and just to the absolute letter and the fact. Everything was just like it was a normal day in the office. Now, if it's been in the 80s and he's made these claims, he's either completely delusional and convinced himself, and now he's living in his own mindset, and to him it's reality. But he was so good. He was just so calm and so knowledgeable in his descriptions about what he was doing there, almost as if he was just reciting what he'd done at work what happened yesterday.
Do you know who else was like that?
Who?
That serial killer, Nielsen.
Who?
Is it Ed Nielsen, the serial killer?
I don't know. Never heard of him. Couldn't have been
Never.
that good.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't one of the good ones.
Right.
He's
Anyway,
yeah, but that's what my point is. He was like that. He was that deadpan, dead calm, like as if nothing. But he's got 15 heads in his fridge, and he's calmly told the police. He's a British guy. It's actually it's been dramatized on TV with what's his name? Doctor Who, Scottish guy, David Tennant.
okay. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and he
yeah.
just so deadpan, dead calm. So maybe the guy was just a murderer, mate. Who knows?
What, he murdered aliens? No, he so he was took on board to
Okay.
develop and advance propulsion engines, and he claims that within a few days of him being at this military base
Yeah.
doing his work, that he was presented a briefing file dossier about alien spacecraft and alien bodies and things like this, and he's
Yeah.
claimed to have seen a UFO.
Yeah.
He's actually said that he's been inside the spacecraft, and he drew a picture of it, and he explained certain things, how it
Please tell me it didn't
worked.
have a glass dome on top of it.
No, there was no little green man out there peeking out of it.
Was it a saucer?
But this is a weird thing. He never said that he saw any alien bodies
Mm.
or anything like that. That wasn't it. It was just he was almost like a very clever car mechanic for spacecraft, and he worked out how the propulsion system worked in the craft, and they got it working
Okay.
to a point where that they discovered a new element, which is called element 115, which was used to power the crafts. Back then, the government denied that there was ever an element 115, that it never existed. And now
Okay.
it turns out that it does exist.
Right. Okay. So, question. Okay. So this is where my kind of like logic. Maybe it's the whole, as you say, safe and sound, being safe and secure logic type of thing comes in. So what decade was this?
80s.
80s. So 30, 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this guy actually got it working, these alien propulsion systems. Now, why would the government, once they got this technology, what did they do with it? So is it just shelved? Because I would think as a government, right, we've got a propulsion system which could change the face of A, space travel for us. Now we have it. B, we could make so many trillions of dollars from every country in the world with this technology. And we'll claim it as our own. What? But it's not our own. It's not there.
Yeah.
Where is it? What if we found it and we've worked it out? Why wouldn't we use it?
Well,
Because it's maybe bullshit.
Yeah, it might be. And that's the whole point of a conspiracy theory. But what for everybody that's tried to debunk his claims, a few years later, there's always been a new piece of evidence that actually kind of shifts him back into that credible category.
Right.
And I've very, very briefly just summarized his claim. But of course, the government say no. But then the way that he described how the craft would move, insofar as that this propulsion system and anti-gravity capability that it had,
Yeah.
almost then puts the spaceship into a trajectory that it's flying belly up almost, for, like the bottom of the craft would turn and it would fly forwards,
Right.
so belly front. And there are actually declassified files from the Navy pilots in America where you can see these shapes of these flying crafts that they've caught on their infrared or cameras on the Navy pilots' jets, and tell you what, mate, it does look like a flying saucer that rotates and goes belly first, and
See,
they're
for me,
flying
it's
at
like,
massive speeds.
yeah, for me, it's like back in the 80s, right? Footage like that would have been way more believable because what you can do with technology these days, even on your mobile phone and with a computer at home, you can. It's for me, it's hard to believe stuff like that. It's just like this could just be CGI'd because
But
it's so
those are
great.
official Navy pilot recordings.
I don't know. I find it tricky, man. Tricky. And it's always government. Why is it like not sane people? It's either government who've got it or absolutely insane people like hillbilly people in the backs of America. It's never sane people like me or you who would lodge, who see something and think, fuck me, get me phone, this is going on. I ain't going to the government with this. The world needs to see this shit and
I do
put
find
it
it
on Facebook.
amazing that this stuff only seems to happen over or near to army bases.
Yeah, exactly. Never a big bus station,
No,
because clearly the aliens know that. Right, let's if they're that intelligent, this intelligent life, right? Why would they always pick military? We are a violent species, right? If we see someone, we can barely get along because we look different to each other. You know, do you know what I mean? If they're that clever, they would have done their bloody research, find out that shit, man. If we go in there with where all the guns are, we're gonna get shot the shit out. Why not go down to like a group of hippies that love everybody? You know.
There's another theory there as well, which I, on a tangent, whilst I was researching alien stuff. Obviously, if aliens did want to come down and take over our planet, they're not even going to need to land. They would just release some kind of horrible toxin into the air
Yeah,
and kill us
yeah,
off that way. So that's the whole alien thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that there's other TV programs out there. Ancient Aliens has been on for ages, and people with their accounts of the aliens leaving stuff behind and things. It's a big one. I would love one day to have confirmation that we're not alone. Hopefully, it would be in a nice broadcast and not one that says you've got 2 days to live because we've been
Yeah,
invaded.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that whole Independence Day scenario, whilst spectacular to watch, I'd probably piss my pants if that happened.
Yeah, yeah, me too, mate. Me too.
Anyway, moving on to another one. Queen is a Lizard by David Icke. And now we've finished with that one. Let's carry on.
Yes, please.
I mean, what a load of bull.
Yeah, but he put so much energy and effort into it. That's the weird thing about it.
I know.
So clearly, poor guy had mental health issues, man.
I don't think he targets the Queen specifically. I'm sure there are a group of other lizards
Yeah.
that are there controlling us. But another good one.
It is a bit of a, just before you carry on, it
Go
is a
on.
bit of a one for the people listening. What if, do you not think the biggest conspiracy theory, and this might really piss people off, I do apologise, just a thought. What if the biggest conspiracy theory is religion?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were.
Yeah.
I purposely left it out because I thought I'm going to piss off too many people.
Well, it
But
could be. It
but
could be.
the concept is the same thing in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We're told about something that happened, and that we're told that if you say this, this will happen to you, and if you do this, this will happen to you in the other life. You know, when you die.
Right. So do you think religion was a form of control back in the ancient times?
I mean, come on. Of course it was.
Right. Which brings me on to flat earthers.
I'm so pleased you brought this up. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Right. Okay. So for those of you that don't know,
I'm not a flat earther.
flat earthers are a movement, a group of people that believe the earth is flat. And they argue that we are programmed to believe that earth is spherical so that we can be controlled.
Mhm. Brilliant.
They tell
Brilliant.
us that
Brilliant.
ancient history has been fabricated, right? You
Brilliant.
know that dinosaurs were fabricated, so that the humans have got a backstory, and they believe that the world is one flat plane, a bloody massive one,
Yeah. Yeah.
enclosed within a circle of ice, just like the big massive wall in Game of Thrones. I did take that description from a little documentary that I saw. But what the actual fuck?
A wall of ice that no one has ever seen. I love it. I absolutely adore it. You know what? It's such a terrible theory. I absolutely love them. These people, and especially on their website, that they are the biggest following in the globe. One of their websites, mate. I was watching TV the other day, and this man was a flat earther, believed in flat Earth, and the woman who was talking to him said, Why don't you believe that that we're spherical?" And he said, "I just don't understand the way they explain it."
Right.
So because he didn't understand the way science explains it, probably because he's too lazy to actually just like rewind and or flick back the pages a bit and absorb it a little bit more, or ask a question. Maybe ask a question. What does this mean, Mr. Scientist? No, no, because he didn't understand it, he doesn't believe it, and it's just the perfect thing. I'm absolutely. I don't know where to start with this one. I really don't. I don't
It's
understand. For a start, I'd like to. If anyone's out there is a flat earther listening to this, please contact us, because I really, without being an arsehole, I would love to sit down and have a complete chat with you just to understand, you know, why you think it's a conspiracy. Because I don't understand, firstly, right, why it's so bad that we are spherical.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that I don't think that's their beef, is it? Their beef is that they feel we're being controlled. But honestly, I'm amazed that there are so many people that believe this,
Yeah.
and it's got to be one of the biggest
So I want to ask some
far-fetched ones
scientific
going.
questions. Can you pretend to be a flat earther for a minute if you can?
Go on then.
Right. Okay. Night and day. How does it work?
Ah, that's worked. There's like this rig high above us, and it just spins around on a 24-hour cycle. Big, massive lights. One that's coloured and shaped like the sun, and one that's
What,
coloured
holding the
and
sun?
shaped. Pardon?
So this big rig holds a thing called the sun, yeah?
It's a big light.
Oh, it's a big light. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it looks like. Oh, I see what you did.
don't,
Yeah.
how does it work? How does night and day work? Right? How is it daytime in Australia when it's nighttime in England? When we're a flat Earth, if we're flat.
What,
I don't.
daytime in one part of the world and nighttime in another?
If we're flat, how does it work scientifically? Because it happens.
Well, from a flat Earth point of view, they say that there's a big, massive light rig that does a big circle around
Okay.
the world.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So,
And why have we never seen this wall of ice? I mean, it would be the biggest wonder in the world. I mean, we revere the fucking pyramids. We revere Mount Rushmore. We revere some stones down in Salisbury Plain. You know, we're not that. We're easily pleased as a species. So
see this
this circle of ice that is around the entire planet, keeping all of our water in. Why have we never seen it?
this is a perfect opportunity if a flat earther was here
I'd love.
to
Please come forward, please.
to put their side to it. So that's a fantastic point. I'm sure there's a very rich flat earther who could potentially get a boat
Yeah.
and just sail in one direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by their knowledge,
Yeah.
they would hit a wall of ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they would have a reason as to why they have not hit a wall of ice after 250 days of pure sailing in one direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they obviously believe that the world is flat, but of course, it's the government's fault.
Yeah.
The-
Have they?
they
Are we?
can't find the wall but it's probably the government's fault, and they're
Oh,
being
it's to control us, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And
So,
as a flat, are we a disc? Are we a flat disc? That's another thing I wanted to know. Are we a perfectly round disc that's flat?
am I still playing the role of the flat earther?
You can do. These are just questions to people who might want to write in and educate me.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, flat earther or not, but just going on that tangent, if the world was a flat disk, then the massive ice wall makes sense because that would hold all of the water in.
It would, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
But do you know what? I'm gonna have to disprove this conspiracy theory right here, right now.
Cool.
I can do it.
Go for it, man.
Do you remember where you were on the 14th of October, 2012?
4th, 2012.
I was having dinner in a pub in Wolverhampton, and I had my phone with me because there was an event taking place that I absolutely did not want to miss,
Okay.
and it was a space jump,
Right.
and it was by a guy called Felix Baumgartner. He was one of the best skydivers in the world at the time,
Oh yeah.
and he, in collaboration with Red Bull, traveled in a balloon 19 miles above the Earth, and he jumped out, and
Oh
shed
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
he broke shed loads of records. Highest jump ever, fastest jump ever, and all of that kind of stuff. And he went up. I think it was a helium balloon, but he floated up to 19 miles above the surface of the Earth, and he even had a spacesuit on with
Yeah, I remember
proper,
that. Yeah,
yeah. And he jumped out of his little space can that was attached to this balloon. But they
yeah,
live streamed the whole thing. They
yeah.
had cameras inside the cabin of space thing and outside. I watched him open the door. It was like, this is how. I mean, I was so excited.
Mm.
The moon landings, if that was live streamed, it would be just like this.
Hmm.
And the door opened, he came out in his spacesuit, and the camera that was set up on the rig on outside live streaming the event. Guess what we saw?
What's that?
A globe, the
Fake.
Earth.
Fake.
It was so beautiful
Fake. CGI'd. Done by the government. Said every flat earther.
whilst
Ever.
live streaming.
Yeah. Fake.
Honestly, mate, that globe
That's
was
beautiful.
as curvy as J-Lo's hiney.
Beautiful, mate. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
It,
and
it,
then he
it,
jumped.
it moves you when you see it like that. And I'd just like to say to any flat earther, what's the difference if we are round or flat? Where's the control? Why can't they control us if we are in a sphere like we are compared to being flat? I don't get it.
Well, I hope the moon landings were true because they would be able to stand on the surface of the moon and marvel at
Yeah,
the planet Earth.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I'd probably, I know, I'd be reduced to tears if I saw that.
yeah, yeah. Me too, mate. Me too.
Which also brings us nicely on to moon landings. I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but
Okay.
this is a big one. This is one of the biggest, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon.
Right. Do
Oh,
you know what? I'm going to sit on the fence on this one.
right.
I'm totally for the fact that we landed on the moon, and I'm also totally for the fact that it was complete bullshit.
Mm.
I'd be happy with either.
I mean, I haven't looked into conspiracy theories on the moon landings because it was part of a history that I wasn't around to see. My parents remember it. There's a lot of joy and stuff around it. And why we are traveling in space, unless you don't disbelieve that we are actually traveling in space, yeah, and that we have been since the 50s or whatever. We've got the capabilities to travel. We have sent probes to the furthest parts of our own solar system, to Pluto, to Saturn, and we've got images back. Why is it so far-fetched that we could land on the moon? That's the thing. And it's like, why why? It's almost like people who are atheists, yeah, which I'm mainly atheist, but they then turn around to people who believe in like an afterlife and try and disprove it and try and make people feel bad about it. And it's like, why not just let them have that hope? Why not
Yeah,
let people believe it? It's not affecting anyone if it was fake or not. In terms of the afterlife, and it's the same with the moon landings. The moon landings now is like a massive part of human history and achievement. And I just think, I don't know, why just default to it being fake when we have the capability of doing it? It just makes no sense to me.
I think the longer that it goes on,
Yeah,
the more people are just going to almost commit it to myth or legend.
yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
I say the longer it goes on, I mean the longer it goes on that they don't go back.
Mm.
You know, I
There's no
just
point. There's no point going back to the moon, though, is there? Essentially, because you think of the amount of money it costs to do such an expedition.
Yeah, but surely there's a reason to go back there then to set up
If they're setting up a
lunar
colony,
bases as
yeah,
a
that's
stepping
different.
stone.
Completely different that is. But to just go back to land on it would be a
Yeah, to
waste.
have a walk around and take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, to prove that it's real.
Yeah,
Only be
but
told it's fake.
the moon landings in today's age with the technology, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you could probably live stream from the Earth as well, with maybe a slight delay.
Hmm.
But God, can you imagine how much of a buzz that would create?
Well, it kind of has with Mars, the soft landing on Mars.
Yeah, and
That
that
was
was
that was just
fantastic.
that was just like
I
I've
loved
never
watching
felt.
the pictures from that
Yeah,
rover.
yeah. It's like I was elated that stimulated parts of my brain I don't remember being stimulated seeing that because it was so mad. And that's
Yeah.
what it must have felt like in the early 60s when they landed on the moon, seeing it on the TV. But yeah, it's
Well, as a country,
fascinates
they
me.
really came together, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's what JFK wanted.
Maybe.
Yeah. Um, some of the most famous people on the planet are often embroiled in conspiracy theories as well. So, Michael Jackson, he's alive.
Dead.
Elvis is alive. He's a university lecturer in Aberystwyth.
He lives in
Um,
my heart.
Tupac, he's alive. He lives in Serbia.
He'd be
Um,
dead. My friends are Serbian. My friends are Serbian, and he told me it's an incredibly racist country. Tupac would stick out like a black man in Serbia.
yeah. Kurt Cobain was murdered. John Lennon killed by the CIA.
Why?
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 Well, people say that John Lennon was killed by the government because he was inciting the West into revolution.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Obviously, I'm sure
How
the
did they
guy
go?
that did kill him, what was his name, Mark Chapman. I'm sure he probably did kill him. Maybe the government paid him a lot of money, but there's a
Maybe.
conspiracy theory all around that. In
Yeah.
fact, whilst I was doing a bit of reading about the John Lennon murder, I came across one that I had no idea about.
What's that?
Paul McCartney.
What killed
He's
him?
dead.
Paul McCartney's dead.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Paul McCartney died in 1966.
Not the Paul McCartney.
Yes. And he was replaced by a guy called Billy Sears. I shit you not.
Is this a
And
conspiracy theory?
apparently, there was what are the other guys called? Ringo, George,
Yeah.
John. Apparently, they were so they felt so guilty about covering up his death. I'm not saying they did it like the Beatles, but that his death was covered up and that he was replaced by this lookalike and sound-alike, who also came from Liverpool.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
But they put clues. in the song lyrics and the album
Clues.
artwork.
Oh, this is brilliant.
I know,
Clues.
I never heard it. But what gets me is the shroud of mystery that surrounded it. However, they are 100% specific about how Paul McCartney died.
How did he die?
His car this is quote, his car skidded off an icy road and crashed into a pole.
A Polish man.
No, just a pole.
Oh
But
my god.
you know, so that piece of information there about the car crash
This is unreal.
obviously cements it all.
So
In
Billy
fact,
Sears, get me straight. Billy Sears also happens to be a look-alike, a dead ringer for Paul McCartney from Liverpool with an amazing ability with music and song lyrics.
yep.
Oh my god. I mean, they were lucky. They were lucky.
I know, man. I know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And I bet you there are so many people out there who believe this story.
Well, I honestly, I genuinely was surprised. I never ever heard of that one.
That is possibly the worst, most ridiculous conspiracy theory I have heard. You've outdone yourself.
And of course,
Beautiful.
do you remember an American singer called Avril Lavigne?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Died in 1950.
She died in 2003 and was replaced with an imposter as well. So yeah, it's out there. You know, these celebrities are getting replaced here, left, right, and centre.
You look a bit different to when we were kids, actually. Next saying that.
Yeah, I'm different. I think I need to draw attention to Princess Diana because that's probably another big one that's up there as the best of all time. So I don't know whether I really need to talk about the facts. I think it's a genuine fact that she wrote a letter to her butler outlining her fears of the establishment, as she called the royal family.
Yeah.
And that she genuinely said that she feared about being bumped off. And this was, you know, not that soon before the event happened. But, you know, when you think about things like that, Mohammed Al-Fayed said that she was pregnant with Dodi's child and that the royal family couldn't accept that an Egyptian Muslim could eventually be the stepfather of the future king, and so therefore plotted to kill her off, or that the treatment of her injuries at the scene of the crash, it took far, far longer than it should. And they never even went to the nearest hospital. They took her to one further away. The speed of the car that should have been traveling at 30 miles an hour but was going much, much faster. There's things there that from an entertainment point of view, it's horrible because I know she was a lovely person, but I just wish that if there was one conspiracy, that one is the one that gets brought to light and that something untoward went on.
Yeah, it's more of a, I don't know.
Only, I mean, it would serve her justice, to be fair, and she would also be proved right.
Yeah, it's just, it's a very tricky one, isn't it, man? It's like, I mean, for a lot of British people and a lot of people around the world, she's like, sits in their hearts as this amazing woman, which she was.
I didn't know she was 36 when she died.
Yeah, it's crazy young. Like, kids were really, you know, Harry and William were very young, and you think, I hope it wasn't true. You know, that's why I don't believe it's, again, safety and security.
But do you believe that governments assassinate people?
Yeah, of course they do. Oh God, yeah. Have you not watched 24?
Yeah.
True fact, man. No, I mean,
could somebody as high profile as Princess Diana be assassinated?
Would they assassinate her? You know, the royal family. It's not like fucking King Henry VIII days, is it? You know, lots of other things happened in that family to bring shame on that family, which are worse than that. King Edward abdicating the throne because he married Wallis Simpson, the American. They themselves were controversial. Prince Philip is
Well,
a Cypriot, and
and
then you've got
we're all waiting in the wings to see what Prince Andrew gets up to next, aren't we?
exactly. If anything, he should have been the one bumped off. But Princess Diana, I don't know. I like to make things fit logically. Like, why didn't they take her to the nearest hospital? Maybe it wasn't the best. Maybe it wasn't an emergency hospital. That is a thing. That maybe the best hospital to treat a royal member of a member of the royal family such as her. That maybe they wanted to get to the best hospital. The speed of the car. Well, if you're working for someone as high society like Princess Diana, and you like Princess Diana, and the paparazzi are after her, and she's like saying, "Fucking put your foot down, you twat." He's gonna put his foot down, isn't he? And it's that whole thing, that whole element of chase. That guy may have never been ever in his experience to be chased at such high speeds in such a high powerful car. You
Well,
just don't know.
apparently he was head of security and a registered driver
Yeah, but
of
it's
the
like
hotel, not
of
her,
the hotel. Yeah,
not her
in
security
other words,
detail.
he'd been put on the track and put his foot down a couple of times. I'd ticked a box. Again, so that fits for me. He's going at such high speeds under such stress and pressure. You don't know these paparazzis all around his car confused him, whatever. It was dark, bang, gone. I just don't want to accept that it was a murder, because that just for me demeans, absolutely degrades who she was and what she stood for, to end her life such a cruel and disgusting way just because she was going to marry a bloody Egyptian and have his baby. Yeah, don't buy it. I don't want to buy it either. So take your facts, stick them up your arse, whoever's got them.
I think, mate, we'll probably end it there. I've got the perfect statement for you that sums up both sides, really.
Okay.
If it looks like shit and it smells like shit,
it probably is shit. Perfect, mate. Perfect.
Yes, mate. Yeah, Ray, you've been great. And if you're still listening to this, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It's on pretty much every available channel out there. There's a Facebook group, search A Little Bit About, and come back next episode, because we're going to be talking about what it was like to grow up on a council estate in England in the 90s. Woo. Ray, thank you very much, dude.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Ta-ta.